How y'all doing? I'm D-Rey.
And I'm Tim Delaney.
And with this past Tuesday marking National Sportsmanship Day, we'd just like to thank all of you out there who compete on the field or on the court, but also respect your opponent on the field and on the court.
There's another Tim Delaney at Oswego University who is a professor, and he recently edited a book on good sportsmanship, and we'd like to thank him for his dedication to promoting good sportsmanship in America today.
Thank you, Tim. So, Tim, like I said, this past Tuesday marked National Sportsmanship Day. What do you define as good sportsmanship?
Just respecting your opponent, making sure you don't take anything too lightly, and giving them the respect, knowing that they've worked just as hard as you have, so they deserve to be on the court as well. So there's no point for kind of taunting or anything else that can be hurtful or to someone personally. So just play the game, respect the game, and kind of go with that.
So I gotta ask you, because you answered that question a lot better than you expect a lot of college students to do it. Where did that concept of good sportsmanship come from? I understand that you come from a basketball family, and in so many ways you've dealt with different figures in South Jersey and Philly that have all influenced you one way or another. But where would you say, where would you pinpoint your definition of good sportsmanship coming from?
Definitely my mother, my dad, and the coaches here at Villanova. I mean, we really emphasize attitude, which is another way of saying whatever bad happens on the court doesn't really matter, just focus on yourself. And as long as you focus on yourself, you're going to have good sportsmanship, because that's really what matters. So growing up with my mom always preaching that, to stay humble, don't make a bunch of gestures on the court, try to make other people feel bad, just play for your teammates and just have fun. I mean, as long as you're having fun and you're not getting too out of control, you'll be fine, regardless of sportsmanship.
And that's perfect. That brings me right to my next question. Obviously that was your upbringing, and you get here at Villanova, and you mentioned coach and your teammates. What role does Coach Wright and the teammates that you played with here play into your idea of good sportsmanship?
Oh, a huge role. I mean, we have a very strict, no crazy stuff going on the court rules. There's no gestures really, and it's kind of like an unspoken rule than a explicit rule, because everyone knows when you get out there, it's only about the 5 people on your team, you and your coach.
Yeah.
So as long as you focus on that, the refs don't matter, the other team doesn't matter. So there's no point in going into all the crazy stuff that you see some people do on TV, where they're making gestures and getting in other people's face, because we're really only worried about our teammates. And if anything bad happens, we just say attitude, next play, forget about the refs, forget about the bad calls, forget about the other team. We're only playing for ourselves. So that kind of leads into being good sportsmen along with them.
So much of good sportsmanship is not just in how you deal with things right in the play. It has a lot to do with hard work, before the game, putting in the work before you even get to your respective sport, a certain amount of dedication, dealing with injuries. Quite honestly, I think that's something that's very underrated in the concept of good sportsmanship, and how you deal with your injuries and how you will let that affect you and your team. But more than anything, knowing your role. What can you speak to about those 3 concepts of hard work, persevering through injuries, and knowing your role playing into the idea of good sportsmanship?
Well, starting with hard work, I mean, that's the basis for everything you do, right? Anything, you're going to be on the court, you've worked hard, you've done everything you can to prepare for that moment. And so when you get there, it's time to just attack and do your best. But then when you're faced with issues and obstacles that you have to overcome, like my injuries that I had, the best thing you can do is just take one day at a time, go one day at a time. Don't really worry about the big picture too much, because if you step back, you can kind of lose sight of yourself.
Yeah.
And that doesn't allow you to get too consumed with yourself. So you stay just going one day at a time and thinking about others and everyone else on your team. You're going to be a good influence on your team, which is promoting good sportsmanship from within your team and showing other people how to act when issues hit them. Instead of an injury, it's a horrible call that you lose a game on, and instead of just overreacting and going nuts, you say, all right, attitude, next play, we're all right.
All right, so much of who you are, off the floor plays into who you are on. And I know one of my favorite days, which you actually revealed a lot about your character as a person, is our day of service. We go and do charitable work, and you've always been one of the most vibrant people, and just happy to help, you know, and volunteering. So, what is your outlook on charity and helping out when you can, you know, as someone with a platform that most people, you know, quite honestly, don't expect those type of things from?
Well, first, thank you.
Okay.
Very nice of you. Secondly,
Go ahead.
make me
Yeah,
explode.
no. Sorry.
Well, first, the platform that we've been given is amazing. I mean, so you have the opportunity to either make someone's day or crush someone's day every single day without even realizing it. Like walking off the court, sometimes you go to give a kid a high five, you make his day, but you can also accidentally miss the kid right behind him, and it's like he did it on purpose, but you have no idea. So
Yeah.
when it comes to charity, I really try to take that to the next level of just anything I see, I do my best to help, because that's what the platform that we have is meant to do. And as a team, we do the day of service that you were involved in when you were here. And this past year, we actually built a house on campus and then shipped it down to Philadelphia. I thought it was kind of backwards, but
I know.
Yeah.
That was the most. I think everybody's taking the Netflix approach now with everything. It's like, I'm gonna assemble this on my own. I'm just gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that with houses as well. Stay tuned for whatever happens next with that. I don't think that's a bright future in the whole. Let's assemble it here and ship it off market. But I'm observant. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, everyone really came together on our team. We all did our part of making that house. Some people were drilling holes in the wood, other people were hammering nails, and eventually you look back and you have a whole house. And so that's kind of just like what we do on our team. Everyone has their role of doing certain things, and you look back and you have a team.
Okay. So just to wrap up, obviously you're in the business school. You're bright. You're an academic All-American. Congrats on that. How do you think good sportsmanship is going to play into, well, actually, two-part question. First of all, what do you see life after basketball being? And secondly, how do you see good sportsmanship playing into that lifestyle?
Well, first I want to continue to play basketball as long as I can. So that already speaks for itself how sportsmanship is going to play into it. But then after that, I'd like to do something in business with, I'm not sure if it's working for a startup, going to Wall Street, something along those lines. And it's going to be the same obstacles. I mean, basketball teaches you a lot about life and how to deal with tough things happening and people not treating you fair, like the referees. And so when you approach everyday life with the same mindset, it allows you to be successful, because anything that happens that's unfair, you just step back, you're like, all right, attitude, next day instead of next play.
Yeah.
And just translating everything I've learned from basketball and good sportsmanship into life and being a good person, I think it's really going to help me.
Perfect, man. Like you said, you got a bright future ahead of you, and I had to know these things. So, thank you.
Thank you
for sitting down with me and talking about good sportsmanship, and thank all of you out there watching.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim Delaney.
Yes, thank you.
And I forgot to mention this at the beginning. Stephen Wurst and Kevin Minnick were the ones who enabled this interview, so big shout out to them for putting this all together.
Thank you, Tim Delaney and Tim Delaney.
Thank you, D-Rey.
Great day.